The Lightning struggle on the road right before a homestand featuring a whole lot of playoff games. Just how crucial are these home games for the Tampa Bay Lightning this season? Find out the answer to that and all your questions on Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Lightning. I'm your host, Josh Sperber, thanking all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Tampa Bay Lightning, then this is the show for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And it really started out like it was game time for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They scored early and often against the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting the first 3 goals of the game, including 2 of them inside the first 4 minutes. Brayden Point moved within striking distance of Martin St. Louis' mark for the second most power play goals in Lightning history. He needs 2 to pass Marty and 1 to tie, trying to become the second Lightning player to score 100 power play goals in his career is Brayden Point. Victor Hedman is close to Martin St. Louis as well, with Hedman two assists now away from Martin St. Louis' assist record for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He needs 3 to break it, and Hedman has scored points in each of his last 4 games with a goal and 4 assists. And Nikita Kucherov's 3 assists put him into the 900-point mark. Nikita Kucherov, the third fastest active player to 900 points, behind just Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. And only Peter Stastny, Yari Curry, and Jaromir Jagr reached 900 points faster than Kucherov for players born outside of North America, one of 23 players born outside of North America with 900 or more points. And just great company for Nikita Kucherov, continuing his legendary career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was on that point power play goal starting off the game, and it really seemed like the Bolts just got off to the best start that they could, and they did. This is just one of those games that you want back. Things might have been different if Vasilevsky was starting over Johansson. I certainly think there were a couple saves that Johansson didn't make that Vasilevsky could have, but you need to give days off to everybody. And I think resting Vasilevsky so he can hopefully go this entire homestand coming up for the Lightning when they face the Stars, the Avalanche, and the Capitals with 1 day on the road after Thanksgiving before they come back home and face the Maple Leafs. They go on the road to Nashville on the 29th. And I think it definitely started off as a strong game for the Lightning, but I think at this point in the season, this is probably the worst loss for the Lightning. And I say that I think the previous one had to be that Flyers loss. That seemed like another game that they gave away. But for the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think to lose these kind of games is just extra hard to swallow. The Lightning, as we've talked about the entirety of the season, the Lightning are a team with a strong offensive identity. They have one of the better offenses in the league, and they win games based on their offense. When their offense performs well, that is usually when the Lightning do the best. And they just lost an absolute barn burner to one of the worst teams in the league. 13 combined scores, most in a game between the Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets in the history of this series. And aside from the fact that the Lightning went up 3-0, after that first period where the Lightning outshot the Blue Jackets 12-8, in the rest of regulation, The Lightning had 17 more shots. The Blue Jackets had 34 more shots, each team with one in overtime. But just for an offensive team like the Lightning, for a team with that much firepower on the offensive side, yes, the Blue Jackets played a great game, and they definitely took advantage of the Lightning's backup goalie. But this is just not a game that the Lightning can lose. This is just if you score 6 goals on the Tampa Bay Lightning, you should expect to win that game. Again, I think Vasilevsky in goal definitely would have changed things, but that being said, there were a lot of moments where the defense just kind of looked out of sorts. On those Kent Johnson power plays, it just didn't seem like they were shifting right. And they just kind of lost the men that they were covering in the shuffle from time to time, and that's just not something that can happen. So some defensive miscues certainly fueled this, but this is a game that the Lightning are going to want back. This is a game that a team like Tampa certainly expects to win, and that was really the key theme when it came to the post-game press conference. You could just tell that there was some frustration in the guys after that one, because that's just a tough one to lose. When you score the first 3 goals, you outshoot a team by 4 shots in the first period, and you score a quarter of the shots that you take in that first period. That is just something that you want to win. I think a key goal was that Monahan goal towards the end of the first period. I think that really got the ball rolling for Columbus. You still like to see that pretty much every time Columbus tied the game, the Lightning quickly came back. Columbus took the lead, the Lightning quickly came back. Mitchell Chaffee scoring a goal less than 20 seconds after Kent Johnson's power play goal, even things up at 3. And then not too long after that, Columbus responded, but Columbus ended up taking the lead. Less than a minute later, Anthony Cirelli tied it up. Same thing happened in the third period. Kent Johnson gives them the lead on the power play goal. Then Connor Geekie responds in kind. He had his best scoring game of the season with a goal and an assist. His first multi-point game of his NHL career, something that I'm sure we'll see a whole lot more of. And you love seeing that from Connor Geekie. It really seemed like things are starting to click for him, and that's exactly what you want. I mean, this is the time of year. It's been a month, almost 2 months that Connor Geekie has been a full-on NHL player. And, it really seems like things are starting to click. They're progressing the right way. He's certainly shown flashes of elite talent. And, maybe the elite playmaking ability is just continuing to come for Connor Geekie. And it really seems like that. And games like this, regardless of the loss, are still good for a rookie when you can succeed and perform in clutch situations. He tied the goal in the third period. That game doesn't go to overtime without him. And he had another assist as well, did Geekie, earlier in the game. And just a really solid performance overall from Connor Geekie. Gage Gonzalez actually got his first career NHL point on that Connor Geekie goal. And he is starting to play his way in the lineup more. I was honestly a little bit surprised to see him in the lineup. Still with the team, really. I mean, it seemed like he kind of came and went with Braden Point, did Gonzalez, but I like seeing the rookies get some NHL time, and I think that Gonzalez has certainly earned some role with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It definitely also creates some pressure on guys like Michael Eyssimont. I mean, these are, there's only so many guys that you can play every game, and Eyssimont still was able to get in it. The fourth line again, unable to put a goal on the board, but Eyssimont still with a shot, a block, a hit. I mean, he's still a nice physical player. Gonzalez finished with a -2, but he got his first career assist. The Lightning have some young guys in the pipeline that I think they're going to start to move up. And I think games like this make you look at some of those young guys as who wants to step up, who wants to come in and be a two-way forward here in the NHL. It might be a time to start thinking of calling up someone other than Gonzalez, regardless of how well he played in this game, just for the Lightning to shuffle some of their youngsters and see if they can get a big boost from one of their young prospects. And I think Gonzalez could certainly be that guy. I think getting that first point is obviously a big moment for anyone. Did in his 8th NHL game. A big congratulations to him. And hopefully we'll see a lot more because, it'd be nice to see some consistency with the Lightning really back healthy for the most part, and keeping Gonzalez up there could help with that consistency and just, keeping some of the and keeping him on the ice, keeping him just getting ready for hopefully a larger role in his NHL future. But the Lightning have some big-time home games in their future. They've played very well at home. Just how crucial are these games to the Lightning season? Right now, Game Time is having an exclusive deal for the NHL Winter Classic event at Wrigley Field. Go to the Game Time app to purchase tickets and get 10% off of bleacher seating and 20 to 25% off on home plate area seats. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Just go to the Game Time app, download it, and create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL, for $25 off. Terms apply, so download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Back here on Locked On Lightning, Josh Sperber with you, talking about this upcoming homestand for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Most of their next 5 games, 4 of their next 5 games are at home, closing out the month of November with a game against the Dallas Stars, something that we'll discuss in the next segment, and then a rematch against the Colorado Avalanche, who the Lightning beat on a road trip in October. Washington Capitals, who Lightning had a shutout victory against back in October. Then the Nashville Predators on the road before coming right back home on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs to finish off the month of November. A little less than a week after that, the Lightning have a date with the San Jose Sharks at home for the longest Lightning homestand of the early portion of the season. And you look at these players, really in November, the Sharks are towards the bottom of the league, and obviously Lightning have a lot of games to worry about before San Jose comes into town, but there is, I really think that there's going to have to be a little bit more urgency for the Lightning on this homestand. I think it's too early in the season to really talk about the crucial games when it comes to playoff seeding, but the regular season, it's still always important, no matter how close to playoff time. It's important to be at your best and be playing well. And the Lightning had been doing that. They're coming off a 3-game win streak before this bad loss in overtime to Columbus. And again, some really solid teams, some star power in Pittsburgh. And of course, point-wise, you got the best team in each conference at the time that they played, with a 4-0 loss to the Beast of the East and the Devils, or 4-0 win against the Devils, and then after a 4-1 loss to Winnipeg the couple days prior. And those games were at home, and these games, I think, are going to be big on shaping the Lightning's momentum. They have clearly shown that they're more comfortable playing at home, and why wouldn't they be? It's always a full house of just dedicated fans at Amalie Arena, and it's really a great atmosphere to watch a game. Quick shout out to the Locked On Devils host Trey Matthews, who was very complimentary of the Lightning atmosphere in the game that they beat the Devils last week. Big improvement over the Florida Panthers, by the way. Just saying that for fun. I think you guys can all guess why, but these are I think bigger games at home than you'd think that they would be at this point of the season. Because, yes, these games are important, but they're not season-defining games just by looking at the date on the schedule. I think that a really solid homestand could set up the Lightning for some success, and I think that winning in Nashville, going into Steven Stamkos's new house would also be and winning would also be a pretty big deal, but it's just the teams that the Lightning are playing. I mean, the Stars are certainly a contender uh, to come out of the Western Conference. I mean, right now it certainly looks like it could be Winnipeg or Dallas as the team that faces the Eastern Conference champ. I think the Minnesota Wild have been a dark horse, but Lightning have had some tough sledding against them. And, you've got the Avalanche, who are always a contender. There's always that little bit of a rivalry, and it's a game I'm certainly excited to check out with Nathan MacKinnon coming home and playing against Nikita Kucherov. I think that's kind of a fun star rivalry that has really taken place in the NHL, and the Lightning have already had success against those Avalanche too. So it's going to be key. The Capitals. It's going to be hard to follow up that last game the Lightning played, but with Ovechkin now out with some injuries, that makes things a bit more promising on the outlook for the Lightning, I think. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs, who the Lightning just need revenge against. They had a tough loss on the road in Toronto against the Maple Leafs, but I mean, the Predators too, even like these are just teams that you have to beat coming up at home for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You want those games in the regular season against teams that you might see down the road in the playoffs, against teams that are going to be fighting for some of the top spots and high level seeds in the Eastern Conference. It's, it is, there are bigger implications than just the fact that we're in November shows you. And a series like this, a homestand like this against some of the best teams in the league can really be a tone setter for the season. If you can come out of these games, even if the Lightning split this home series, let's say they just get wins over the Maple Leafs and the Stars or the Capitals or something like that. Even just getting 2 wins and splitting the homestand at the end of November would still be big for the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they've clearly shown that they're a team that plays better at Amalie Arena. They prefer the comforts of their own home, but you still need to get it done on the road as well. And I think they've got a nice chance to show that they can be one of the dominant home teams in hockey, as they currently have one of the best home records in hockey. The Lightning 6-1-1, and the Carolina Hurricanes, Winnipeg Jets are currently the only 2 teams with fewer home losses than the Tampa Bay Lightning. 1 in overtime, 1 in regulation in terms of home losses for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, that is something that I expect him to keep up. I genuinely expect the Lightning to finish as one of, if not the best home team in all of the NHL. They have the crowd. They've got the players who love playing at Amalie, just a team who is loved by their community and who loves their community. And that's just a recipe for success on home ice. And that's something that is crucial in any sport. Getting those games at home, securing those victories in your house has to be a priority for any team. And it certainly is for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I really expect them to cement that with this home series. They are coming off a bad loss, so I'd like to see them get out the gate strong and aggressive against Dallas, pick up a win against a team they haven't faced yet this season, and against a team that, if all things go well, they might see down the road again, but this time with the Stanley Cup on the line. So the Lightning start off home series. 5 of their next 6 games are at home. And they started off with the date against the Dallas Stars, who have been one of the better teams in the NHL this season. Let's give you a little preview of Saturday action at Amalie Arena when we return here on Locked On Lightning. Get ready to tackle the NFL action or the NHL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. You can also bet on the NHL or really any other sport that you have in mind. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. So never waste a hunch and make every moment count with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NHL or the NFL and America's #1 sportsbook. And what should be America's #1 chiropractor, the Joint Chiropractic. They have 23 Tampa Bay area locations, all full of staff members who are knowledgeable, helpful, and friendly and can help you manage your pain. I went in for my back pain and they did some stretches on my back that I didn't really know existed. They've gave me a stretching program, which I've followed. And because of that, my back pain has been much, much better. Not pain-free, but getting there. And it's all because of the great team at the Joint Chiropractic. You can get your first visit for $19 and you go to Buccaneers.com/fans/contests and promotions and go to thejoint.com to find your nearest Tampa area location. And they have 23 locations in the Tampa Bay area. So they can find one for you where you can help manage your pain. Lightning trying to manage their pain as well, coming off that tough loss to Columbus. And now we get ready for a game against the Dallas Stars. The Stars come in as third place finishers right now in the Central Division behind Minnesota and Winnipeg. The Stars, though, do have a game in hand. They've got a goal differential of +20. That is second in that division behind Minnesota and Winnipeg. And the Lightning are about to face two Central Division teams behind the Jets and the Wild. Both somewhat surprises. I think the Jets were a bit more expected than Minnesota to be at the level they're at. But you got the two of the top teams in hockey at the top of their division, with two contenders that have been bumped down to current wild card position because of the early success of Minnesota, as well as Winnipeg. But again, I think that was slightly more expected. But the Stars, certainly not a surprise team. They're a team that I expect a challenge for the Western Conference title. I expect them to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference this season. And they have two games against the Tampa Bay Lightning, one in Dallas in March, and, of course, tomorrow's game at Amalie Arena, where we drop the puck at 7. Andrei Vasilevskiy will likely be in goal against Jake Ottinger, two of the players who are currently top 5 in the league in goals allowed average. Vasilevskiy is second at .213, and I think that is, for me, the first key. Getting Vasilevskiy back in there, I think, is going to be a big difference maker. I'm always a believer in not just the hot goalie, but Andrei Vasilevskiy. He is, when he's on his game, he is the best goalie in the NHL. And it hasn't been the best season for him so far to start. He's still been incredibly solid. Keeping the Lightning in playoff position right now. 10 wins, got his 300th. He's been good. You just expect him. I think you just always expect more of a guy like that. And Vasilevskiy did not get on the Vezina voting, the first Vezina watch list. That I think is something that could be rectified. And this road trip, we talked about how clutch it was, how key it is for the Lightning to take some big games on this homestand. And it could be big for Vasilevskiy as well. I mean, these are some of the best teams in the league that the Lightning are about to face. The Capitals might be a little bit easier since Vasi has already shut them out, and they now don't have Alex Ovechkin, which takes a big part out of their offense. So that will be something that we talk about a bit more next week. But this is a big chance for Vasilevsky to show that he was snubbed on that Vezina watch list, because he was. And, um, a big games against contending teams can certainly sway those Vezina voters. And while I think that, guys like Connor Hellebuck might have an inside shot, you got to give Vasi some credit, as he certainly deserves at least a shot at the award, because at least in terms of goals allowed average, he's been one of the best goaltenders in the league. And in most of the games he's had a couple of tough ones, but so has everybody. And I think Vasilevsky has shown that he belongs with the best goalies in the NHL at any given point in the season. Couple of bolts on milestone watch, 3 assists needed for Victor Hedman. I do think he gets that during this homestand. I do not think he'll get that against Dallas. I think he'll get an assist, maybe a goal against the Stars, and I think he'll put up 2 apples to get it in the Lightning's home game against Washington. I think that is going to be his time. Right before Thanksgiving, the Lightning will, I believe, get a new franchise assist leader in Victor Hedman. It's certainly something that is coming. It is well-deserved, and it's something that I can't wait to really just go back on the illustrious career of the Lightning captain Victor Hedman after he becomes the Bolts' all-time assist leader. And the next goal Brandon Hagel scores is going to be his 100th in his career. 4 multi-point games this season, 53 in his career, with the 4th coming against Columbus. I believe that he is going to get that early against the Dallas Stars. Hagel's just a winner, and I think that he's going to be one of those guys that takes that last game personally. He was a player that was key when it came to the Lightning efforts, getting that second goal, adding an assist later on. And I think that he's going to get himself his 100th career goal against the Dallas Stars. That is one thing that I will predict for this upcoming game. He has been so good this season. It really seemed like whenever the Lightning have needed something, Hagel has been the guy getting it. Braden Point also, as I mentioned, 2 power play goals away from becoming the 3rd highest power play goal scorer in the Tampa Bay Lightning history. I definitely think he can get that this homestand. 2 power play goals for Braden Point is certainly doable. I'm looking at Washington for him to get his 2nd, but I think he'll get one on the power play against either Colorado or Dallas, and then he'll reach that milestone against Washington. I think that game could be a blowout in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. But it'd also be a matchup between 2 Rookie of the Year contenders. You got Connor Geekie, who I think could make a bid for the Calder Cup, the Calder Trophy. I don't think that he is going to win it. I think, at least at this point, his stats aren't there, but Logan Stankoven has been among the rookie leaders in points scored. 11 assists, leads all rookies. 4 goals is up there as well, 15 points in 18 games. 47th overall pick in 2021 for the Dallas Stars. And I think is going to be on a different line than Connor Geekie, so we might not see them going head-to-head, but that's a matchup that I'm going to want to watch between 2 Calder Trophy contenders and 2 of the brightest young stars in the NHL right now. So those are 2 players that I will certainly be keeping my eye on. And of course, the goalie matchup between Jake Ettinger and Andrei Vasilevsky. Again, two of the top guys in terms of wins so far this season, and both in the top 5 when it comes to goals allowed average this season as well. So Logan Stankoven and Connor Geekie are a matchup I'm going to want to watch, and then Jake Ettinger and Andrei Vasilevsky in goal as well are matchups to watch. That is going to be a star-studded Saturday at Amalie Arena. I'll be on hand covering the game, so make sure to check out our Twitter account, @LO_Lightning, to follow along with the Lightning game this Saturday. And I want to thank you all for making Locked On Lightning your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steele and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And since you have found Locked On Lightning, first off, I want to thank you again for listening. But please make sure to give us a follow on social media, a like, a subscription, download on wherever service you get your podcast from. But that is going to send us into the weekend. Lightning starting a big homestand before Thanksgiving. I'll be keeping my eyes closely peeled on what they do this week. So thank you again for tuning in to Locked On Lightning, and please enjoy your weekend.